PNL.podcast@gmail.com and follow the PNL Podcast and BOG team on their link tree. Now let's get on with the show. I have on with me, like I said earlier, all the way from Virginia, we've got Ed, Hitman Odell from Riff Nation Network. Welcome, Ed.
Well, thank you, Jen, for having me on, and happy Easter, everybody. Thank you for
happy Easter. Yes. Ed, look, I think I brought, an Easter basket for you. Oh,
what's a basket? Oh,
what's in there? I think there might be a dinosaur egg in here.
Wow.
Oh, a dinosaur egg. I think it already hatched, though. But I think it might have escaped somewhere in the house. So.
It's glowing. You sure it's not from somewhere else other than Earth?
Yes, right. Now we have to tell the listeners, for the folks who don't already know, that when you're in the Riff Nation Network, you're a traveler of the universe in the Rift. Isn't that right, Ed?
That is correct. The travelers came to be. Okay, let me show you. Let me explain the originations. Maybe that'll help. So the show itself is the Orion Effect. The show originally was named the Rift Radio Show. That was on another network on Blog Talk Radio when it started. And I was like, I'm all about promotions. How do we promote ourselves? So the one thing is, what's your fan base? Make your fan base yours. And in that, I became the fan. We're all travelers going through this journey. No matter if it's celestial or dimensional or whatever, there it is. The surfers, that's right. We surf the universe on that cosmic wave. We do it together. It's also about helping each other. It's about being there to uplift others, to help the other travelers, to support, not even in just the good times, but it's also about the bad times. Everybody needs a support system. So we at the Rift Nation, that name changed 3 years ago to broaden our destination of where we wanted to go, our agenda, and to catch up with modern times.
Yes, because the world has gotten a bit weird lately, hasn't it?
It has. And so is podcasting. Actually, it's pretty saturated now. So
yeah, before there wasn't a whole lot out there, was it? I know in season 1 and 2, I was doing just radio. And I said, I guess I got to get out there doing the StreamYard, because everybody who has a podcast is, on video now, right?
Yes. So, yeah, that started with the C word. I saw that trans into video. Everybody's still listening somewhat to podcast audio, especially if you're on the road and you can't see, et cetera, especially truckers, which we have a lot of trucking fans.
I got a lot of people too listening from work, hey, Ed?
That's right. Yeah. So we transitioned into the video podcasting from the audio. I was on audio. I guess we did audio for 6 years on Blog Talk, and we transitioned into our own. Why? Well, one of the reasons is we did not want to pay for the services we were not getting.
Right.
2, I left that network to create the Rift. So the network came from the radio show name itself, and then transcended from the Rift Radio show to the Rift Radio Network. And that's when we transcended to what we are now. Thank you. Into the RNN, the Rift Nation Network. And I always do this. Yeah. So,
when I look at that, I think of, because I'm a nurse, right? I think, hey, cool. Look, a radio network for nurses, RN with an extra N.
I wanted to add something that had to do with radio, old school. That was the other thing. When I created the show, I went back to the late 70s, early 80s. And what was the way to do it? You called into the DJ, you talked to the DJ, and you talked on air, whichever. So I brought that mentality also into this. And unfortunately, at this point, we don't have a telephone number for callers to call in, but that's coming.
Oh, that'll be fun. Yeah. I
Yeah.
know a lot of people are doing live shows now. Now with
Yes.
this one, this is going to have a live chat, like a watch party.
Mhm.
So, because I know with lives, I mean that gets pretty busy. You've got a lot of different shows that you were talking about,
Yes,
right?
ma'am. We sure do. At this moment, we have a full lineup, one show per day, sometimes twice a day, and we're still building.
Yeah.
My show, of course, is the Orion Effect. Every other Sunday is G2 or G3 rather. Sorry about that. Ghost Gossip and Gadgets, and that's with Sean Elliott.
Yeah, the
Um,
G3. Uh-huh.
yep, and then interchanging with that, the following Sunday is the Freaking Awesome Playlist, hosted by Ryan Jones. On Mondays, we have the Otter's Den with Keith Ottersberg and Joni Templeton Skinner, one of the first shows to come to the network, the new network. Tuesdays, we have one of the longest running paranormal shows in the world right now, which is the Freaking Awesome Paranormal Show
Love it.
with Ryan C. Jones. And Mike, my hostess, is the hostess with him as well. She is Rhonda Harris, medium, amazing personality. On Tuesdays, we move into Wednesdays, and Wednesdays we get Joni Templeton Skinner, and she does mysteries behind the scenes, true crime show that she uses astrology to look into past crimes or in present crimes. And she has different guests that come on here and there, and it's really a wonderful show. It's very unique. It's a unique show. Thursdays, we have a double hitter. Thursdays is Bag of Nuts. And then right after that is Beacon in the Dark. And that is with Susan Swanbeck. They're two different shows. But one is a mystical show, which is going to be the Beacon. Nope. Beacon in the Dark has to do with helping other people grow mentally, spiritually, and physically, while Bag of Nuts is the mystical show. She does readings and gets one-on-one with the fan base.
Yeah, she's fun. I she had one of my readings done. It was fun.
She's got
Yeah.
so much energy. So
And
much
she's got
energy.
Viking stuff too, which we love.
Yes.
Because here in Newfoundland and Labrador, we've got Lanso Meadows with our Vikings.
I don't notice you're into pirates, so I'm like, oh, I like you already.
Well, Newfoundland and Labrador, we have a huge pirate history here.
Yes,
So
you
that's
do.
part of the reason why you see pirate on our banner and the tall ships. That's a nod to our fishing industry, but also the pirates too.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
And I love your hat.
Well, thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, it's awesome.
On Fridays, we have our newest show now, which is Uncharted Realms with Ashley and Kristen, and that they will take you anywhere on any subject at any time. You never know where the journey will go with that show. Saturdays are usually left open at this moment for special events if we may go to some place or we want to do a charity event, etc. And I almost left out my brothers and sister, as it did show here earlier, sometimes Saturday nights after 9 p.m. It's the second Saturday a month. We have Paranormal Outlaws, where any and everything is open. Your opinion matters. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad. There it is. Wanted. If you wanted us, we got you.
You'll find them.
That's right. My brothers and my sister will ride into town and we talk about everything about the paranormal and the spiritual. We give our opinions, and it's our opinions. And if people don't like it, well, that's not our problem.
Yeah, this whole country and western is very popular lately. It seems like since the whole Yellowknife has been not Yellowknife. Is it? That's Canadian. I'm thinking about Yellowstone. Since that came out, everybody's gone country wild.
Yeah. We started this. Keith and I started that live in 2022 as just a live on the network, just expressing our opinions and our thoughts. And, it really didn't matter if people came in and wanted to talk negative because we encouraged it. We want that opinion. You got the right to a voice, which is this network's motto. We're giving you the voice that you may not have had.
Yeah.
So Yeah.
So, do you have any favorite episodes that stick out in your mind from all? I mean, you've got a lot of different things on the go. You must have had some different guests on or things that happen. I mean, not only do you do this, but I mean, you've got a history with the All Seeing Paranormal Society, and again. That you were at the military academy, right? You studied criminology, so you've
Yes,
got a really
ma'am.
broad base of knowledge right there.
Yeah. Yeah. I am the co-founder of All Seeing Paranormal Society, ASPS, right here in Central Richmond, Virginia, which we've expanded out to North Carolina and Western Virginia. Um, got some good stuff out of that. I am an alumni of Hargrave Military Academy out in Chatham, Virginia. Yes, ma'am, I am.
Awesome.
Graduated as headquarters company commander.
Nice.
I was very disciplined and learned humility there. I definitely did.
Yes, thank you for your service over there at the academy.
Thank
I've
you.
got a little bit of that kind of stuff in my family too. So, yeah, it kind of runs in the veins, shall we say, doesn't it?
I feel you. Yes, it does. Actually, that runs very deep in my veins. And I was getting ready to say is, I had a serious car accident while I was at the academy, which kept me going into the Marine Corps.
Oh,
However, I continued my studies. Instead of doing what I was going to do with the Marine Corps, I went into J. Sergeant Riddles and started learning criminology. You know, it is something that's been beneficial through so many years that I had learned there.
what gets you into the paranormal, Ed? Was it
Yeah,
was it through the criminology stuff or what?
I utilize it every investigation. When we got into the crime scene part of the curriculum, I really use that now. I do use that with my team. In fact, we're one of the few teams that would actually use the style on which we use. We don't just go into some place and go, look at us, we're here. It doesn't work like that.
No.
We're scientifically based. Not a lot of people know where to find us. We have a small voice that the group has now expressed that they want to get out a little bit more. And I said, okay, let's do this.
Is that the Paranormal Society you're talking about?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody has a voice, just like the Rift. The Rift is a united own front. So everyone, the hosts that are a part of the network actually pay into. So it's actually a little bit of theirs. It's not all me. I don't get 100% say so. And I don't want it. I want them to put their input. I want to hear what they have to say. If there's changes, well, let's make the changes. So that's why I changed up and said, you guys, you want to do it this way? You want to share? And they're like, we're all about share program. I'm like, let's do it. Let's help each other.
Yeah, you guys have a lot of folks on the network. It's awesome. And I know recently you had, I got to give a shout out to Kat Ward. You recently had her on, my sister.
Yeah.
There she is there, my para sister from UPRN. She's also on UPRN on Tuesdays. I'm at 5 p.m. and then she comes on at 6 Eastern. So there she is there with her little kitty cat Boo from Paranormal Heart Podcast.
That's right. We have a very good camaraderie with UPRN. I feel we also have a very good camaraderie with many of the other networks, such as the Things Network and Sacred Spiral Network. We're one big family, and if we can help each other, support each other, and promote each other, just like tonight actually starts that big promotion on my end. I'm looking forward to seeing how we all can benefit from this. But yes, I've had Carrie Lynn Shellhorn on my show multiple times, as I do tonight. Kat, Michelle, Amelia will be coming on the show here very soon. My dear friends, Laura and David over there at the foot of the bed. Yep. Have had them on many a times, and such a pleasure to have so many of you coming to share your moments with us over there, as we love to come over and hang out with you guys.
So, Ed, talk to us. Let's switch gears now and talk to us about some of the interesting paranormal things that you've had to happen personally that you want to talk about.
Wow. At this point, I don't think there hasn't been anything I haven't encountered yet. I
But
think.
is there anything particular that sticks out in your mind that made you want to get into the paranormal?
Oh no. Okay, let's go there. Let's go there.
Okay.
I'm not one of those that had an incident. I'm not one of those that had a moment and went, "Oh no." I was raised into this. Both my parents. My father was an Air Force, Army, Air Corps, Air Force intelligence officer, and my
Nice.
mother
Thank you
was a
for the service.
yes.
And your mom was what now?
She's a spiritualist.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah. So,
So my grandmother was one of the leading spiritualists here in Virginia, married to a Methodist preacher.
okay.
So it's kind of rooted in me.
I did some travel nursing up in Virginia, up in Norfolk and
Oh, yeah.
Portsmouth, and oh gosh, over in Virginia Beach too. It's a nice place.
The eastern side of the state. That's where all the Army boys, Navy boys, and Marine boys.
Yeah, that's where I was during 9/11. Actually, when all that happened, I was there
Oh
in
wow!
Norfolk. We were thinking it was going to be another Pearl Harbor or something. We were like, "Yep,
You know
okay."
what they made some bad mistakes after that, and I'll get back to it, but I'll express that they moved the Air National Guard from Richmond International Airport to Langley Airfield. That
Mhm.
was a very critically bad mistake on the Air Force's part, in my opinion. Putting everything, your assets in one location, that
Yeah,
does call Pearl Harbor.
literally all your eggs in one basket, right there.
Exactly. Other than that,
Yeah.
yeah, we do have my first encounter with a entity would probably does stand out the most, and it's the one I forgot for the longest of time. And I had that encounter with myself, my brother, and four other of our friends, which so anything two or more is called a mass haunting. uh, we were out in the woods, and I've told the story several times, but it sticks in my head because I just see him clearly. uh, we were out in the woods doing boy things. We were all teenagers, pre-teens or teens, and there was a set of woods that we always like to go to. Excuse me. So we were up in that, and there's a big trail that leads all the way to J. Sergeant Reynolds from this location. So we're on that trail, and we're doing our thing. We're huffing and puffing it, and we pass this gentleman. This gentleman has a yellow windbreaker on with green shorts, flip flops,
What?
and we pass him, and we're still, we were raised right. We acknowledge him, say, "Hey, how you doing?" And he just kind of looked over and had these cold black eyes, just
Oh,
looked at us, didn't say anything or nothing. I'm like, whatever, crackhead. So we kept on getting it.
oh no.
We go to our destination, do our thing for the afternoon, doing teenage illegal stuff, and coming back, and we see this tent over in the woods, probably about 30 yards off on top of the hill. And we're like, well, that's odd. Who in the world's going to be camping out? Well, you know what? Hold on. We got the community college right here. You never know what's going on. Because, we've done that. We did the kid thing out
Oh
there.
yeah, we did all that too. Yeah, out in the woods with a bunch of people partying, and yep.
Exactly. So we get back, and we're talking to my mom, and we tell her the event, and she goes, wait a minute. She goes running in the kitchen and comes back and brings the newspaper. Kenny looks at me, and I look at him and go, lesson number 1, here we go. What did we do now? Right? So she flips on, she goes, what did he look like? And where was it? And we told her. And she flips it around and shows us the article where a man had committed suicide 2 days earlier that was
No.
wearing that's right, a yellow windbreaker, green shorts, flip-flops, and a t-shirt. He
I knew you
committed
were gonna say
suicide
that.
because he was
Wow.
fighting with his family and broke up with his girlfriend and committed suicide in the tent.
So you've seen him out there walking around.
Well, here's the
Interesting.
ironic part to that is it took 2022 for me and my brother to discuss, our paranormal experiences because Kenny's on my team now.
Yeah.
And then we both stopped and looked at each other and went, holy macaroni and cheese. That's
Right.
good. We had our primary experience together with that. Now, he'd seen things prior. He's actually been on TV and the whole nine. But to have that experience with 4 of our friends, and
Yeah, it's quite different when there's more than one person, right? Because then you can all totally relate to it. But,
that's
like yourself, a lot of people don't even talk to the other folks until much later about it, which is interesting also,
and some of them don't even talk about it. They're like, we don't
right?
know what you're talking about.
They're like,
One
"What?
of them,
No, I didn't see anything. What are you talking about?" Right?
dude, that never happened. I'm like, you need to stop doing all that drinking. Stop the drinking.
Yeah, they don't wanna talk about it, right?
That's right. They do not.
Since we're in close to the Easter, so do you have any, like, weird cryptid creatures type stuff, like jackalopes or weirdness?
That's a good
Chupacabra?
question.
What does Virginia got up there? I know you got,
Well, we have one time come across what could have possibly been a Sasquatch, or rather Bigfoot. Depends on the breed, depends on the race, depends on the.
right.
That's another rabbit hole. No pun intended, to go down. We were doing some research in a county called Hanover, Virginia, and everybody else had left. It was myself and another investigator, Jimmy, and we were sitting on the back of his truck and we were just talking. And we had this ungodly feeling of being watched. Then we heard an unusual howl. Now, that caught us guard because the howl sounded like a regular dog, but it moved way fast. It moved from one point to at least a quarter of a mile like that. And we're like, how the hell? What's going on? Then we started smelling something, and it was not skunk. So we looked at each other, and I was like, I don't think we're alone. And Jim's like, I know we ain't alone because he's from Michigan, and he's an avid Bigfoot hunter.
Yeah.
So did we come face to face with one? No, not as far as that goes. Have I come face to face with cryptic? It's a possibility, but I'm not going to.
People talk about Dogman too, Ed. You think it because you said it sounded kind of doggish or no?
See, here we go. Dare I say a skinwalker? Dare I say a dogman? I'm not going to say it didn't have that. It had like a hound dog sound. So could something been chasing? Possibly. Could have been moving really fast? Possibly. The barks were not coming from the entity. I think the barks were actually coming from a dog, a legit dog.
Okay, possibly something chasing the dog, you were thinking.
Possibly. All I can do is document the smell, the feeling, the tree knocking, and the rustling that was moving so quick down the Manapani River.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, a lot of people have had different encounters when it comes to Bigfoot and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm not one to jump to conclusions. I've been in this too long, and I dare not say, oh, look, I'm going to cross a path. I know what it was. I don't.
Right.
I
Yeah, it could have been anything, right?
Yeah.
How about up in Virginia? Are you guys still seeing any orbs around up there, or what's going on?
That's an interesting thing. When it all took place, starting in November, I know it started from the north and came down from New York, Jersey area. There's been a lot of people here that said they've seen them. I can't say that I have seen an orb or a UAP per se during that period of time. All I can tell you on this situation is this. It started in December. We had, on the East Coast, we had UAPs, we had orbs and drones. Okay. Ironically, there was this mystical, weird type fog that came in over the East Coast, and then it all stopped. So I'm like, my military
related to the fog? That's how you're thinking?
I don't know.
I was thinking it was related to Christmas and the New Year's Eve because they had this big drone show. And I thought, well, maybe they were just screwing around testing their drones because there's so many drones that were in the show that some of these people were seeing those.
Thank you.
right?
I would have thought the same thing. A lot of these drones shows, a lot of these drones are miscategorized as UAP.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have that. Now, could the fog been created to hide something special for New Year's that we know all over the world? New Year's had huge drone shows.
They did, yeah.
Okay.
In Dubai, Hong Kong, those places, they had like big dragon shows because it was the year of the dragon.
Now, in all those places, they had high volumes of orbs and UAPs and drones, didn't they?
Now, having said that, though, Ed, I've had a lot of people on my group, ParanormalNL Podcast and BOG Team group, send me some stuff in the chat room of things that they were seeing.
Mm-hmm.
And this was happened just before all the drone stuff started happening. I kind of brushed it off, but then I looked back at it and I was like, oh, geez, yeah, these are definite orbs they're sending me pictures of.
It's a possibility. I'm not saying no. Definitely not going to say no. I was not there. I did not witness any of it, so I can't really speak on it. I can only speak on the research and intel that came in as I picked it up and was looking over it. I stick to science. I stick to the facts. Unless I see it, I don't.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to figure out what it is if you don't see it yourself, right? Because
Yeah.
have you ever been there and seen something and you try to do the video and the video has like totally no justice, especially if you see something in the sky like a rainbow or like even the planetary alignment, trying to take pictures of that, and you look at your phone, it's like, yeah, no, that's not what I'm seeing with my own eyes, right?
Exactly. You're exactly right. And that's what a lot of people need to understand is there's a lot of fear mongering going on. There's a lot of misdirection going on, a lot of deceitfulness. And what I've been telling the travelers for months, pay attention to your surroundings and pay attention to what is going on outside, because it may give you a lot more information than social media. And please, God, don't watch the news.
Yeah.
Poor Canada. Taking a beating over, we don't know what's going on, and our government's controlling everything. And our government, well, I
try to keep religion and politics out of it because, oh man, there's so many different opinions and stuff. I try not to go there.
Yeah.
We can go there, but I don't know. I don't want to piss off anybody, right?
No, right. But no, that's around the world. It's not just Canada, but Canada took a beating just like the U.S. These sightings took place all over the world, and it's not just one place. And then we hear, this is the other thing, when we hear without documentation where these things came from, where they could have come from, stick to the facts. Unusual fog, UAP, drones you can't explain, and orbs you can't explain. That's the fact.
To me, I always do the whole Scully thing. To me, I love Scully, but I also love Mulder, right? Want to believe, but I got the Scully in me too, right? I'm thinking, okay, you were talking about the fog. Well, could it be just chemical rain, or could it be just from a fire somewhere and this is smoke? Because we've seen that here in Newfoundland where there's fires up on the mainland. This is what we call it up there. And it comes down towards us, right? So
yeah,
you never know.
It's like let's go there. It's like the Easter Bunny.
That's right.
Okay. The Easter Bunny, you can believe or not believe, it's on your faith, and you can believe and have your faith that the Easter Bunny is real. But how about the Easter Bunny laying eggs? It's really confusing. But if you look at it from a faith point, it's actually quite paranormal, but it's actually quite astonishing. I love the fact of new and rebirth, and this rabbit, this hare delivering good things, messages around the world.
I think it comes back from, they say the eggs and all that stuff are supposed to be new life and new rebirth. And I think in the medieval period, eating eggs was forbidden during Lent. So on Easter Sunday, people would eat eggs, right? So that became a big celebration there for them.
Bravo.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. And then for like when you think about rabbits, I was like, well, when you think about Christmas and all that stuff, always Santa Claus comes up. And you just mentioned like, why is a rabbit, with Easter? Because rabbits, I think they were in the medieval period, rabbits, they were symbolized as evil because they reached their strong reproductivity, right? They produce like a rabbit, right? And
Hence where
evil
Monty
spreads.
Python got the killer rabbit. You're
Yeah,
exactly right.
yeah. Just like evil spreads fast and harms the world. Therefore, in the Middle Ages, people used the rabbit as a symbol of evil. Because you know how sometimes you see that for scary, spooky, paranormal stuff, you'll see the rabbit come up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was wondering about that too. Because sometimes you see people using that. There's an example there of the rabbit and the symbol.
Very good. Very good. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can go as far as like in your banner. Maybe back in medieval times, the Easter egg might have represented with its colors, maybe dragons.
Right? Yeah.
Endless possibilities. Here we go. Endless possibilities. I love endless possibilities.
You never know. There maybe still is dragons around. Who knows, right?
Never
Maybe
know.
they come out of the ground every so often.
Hey,
Maybe they hibernate.
that's right. Get their groove on, flap the wings, scratch, get back. Who knows? Anything's possible.
But here's another one for you. In Greek mythology, they said the Easter bunny was have said to have been the bird at one time that drew the chariot of the goddess of spring or something, and turned into a hare. And then every year, at the coming of the spring, with the hare remembrance, and in the, I guess, commemoration, the original bird nature was to lay eggs, right, as an offering to spring. So, maybe that's where it comes from.
Very well. I love that. I love this conversation. It's an excellent point because it's paranormal related.
But then why is there so many scary things like the bunny man and all that kind of
Okay, hold on.
Right?
Hold on. The bunny man is wow. Okay, that has got 3 different stories. That's got 3 different variations of it. And a lot of it, majority of it is fake. It's folklore,
horror movies and stuff like that.
Yeah, pretty much. It's pretty much like it's time of a horror movie. He escaped from the insane asylum, got out, and to survive, he ate bunnies. That's it. That is it. But somehow it turned into him wearing a bunny suit, which he did not. Somebody did do that to propaganda the situation, by the way. This is all fact. All he ever did was to actually kill rabbits to live, and he did live underneath the bridge or in that area, because once it got broke out, eventually that location, both the prison and the insane asylum, which was an asylum, they didn't say insane, they just said the asylum, were both shut down eventually. And they said he would walk into town once in a while. Now, I say this, for an escaped convict, for an escaped prisoner, for an escaped inmate, why was nothing done? That's where the story gets faltered. Nobody's going to walk into town and go, oh, that's just the bunny man. Oh, for God's sake. They're going to call the police or whatever. I mean, it just, no. It just, he was only there for, I think, a year, and then he was arrested. Well, subdued, if you will. So, yeah, that's one of our myths of Virginia. The myths.
Oh, is it? That's one of the Virginia myths?
Yeah, that's a Virginia myth. Yep,
okay.
in Northern Virginia.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I think the word Easter comes from, I want to say that one of the pagan words for renewal and rebirth. They had the feast of Easter or something. Yes. Easter or Isori, which basically that's where the name comes from.
Right.
Which is not good because really, when you think about it, we should be thinking about the whole, cross and bit and stuff, right?
Right. Well, the church integrated a lot of the Celtic religion, or the Celtic, however you wish to call it, into them. just to encourage others to come and to, there's a lot of negative about that, but maybe the church had a positive intent. Not that I'm a supporter of the church. I'm not saying anything about that.
Well, we're
However,
not talking religion. We're just talking about Easter.
exactly.
And whatever. Yeah.
So the church probably did bring this into their fold. And it is the Celtic point of springtime or the rebirth. Yeah, absolutely. Why not? Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to some sunshine. I know we've had every season here today. We've had snow, we've had rain, we've had all kinds of weirdness in our weather.
Yeah, y'all are like the south of the United States. You just blink your eye and the weather will change. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Do you miss living in the warm weather, or have you always lived in the cold weather?
No, well, it's not really cold where I am. Where I am is a Mediterranean state.
Not too bad.
Yeah, it can get humid.
Because when I was living in Virginia, it snowed, and I said, "Oh hell no, I'm going back to Texas."
It very rarely snows here, and especially down at the beach. That's only because the water will get trapped between the mountains
Right.
and the ocean and circle. But we very rarely get any snow here.
Nice.
Yeah, you get more of that when you go up to the Delaware, Maryland area, going upwise, going north. And I don't like it hot, so I care not for north, south, Georgia. Nope. Florida. Hell no. No.
But it doesn't matter how cold it is. There can still be ghosts.
It doesn't matter. Well, I have a theory going on with that. That's a theory of fusion and fission. I think certain entities are affected by temperature. We can dive in that to another time.
Yeah. Because you ever notice, like, when people feel a ghost, they always say, "Oh, I'm feeling cold," or "Do you feel the cold spot?" and stuff like that.
Right. Well, what about the reverse? How many people think about this? They get a hot spot. Nobody thinks about it.
Not very
Because
often,
it's
right?
what we have learned.
Yes.
Paranormal research investigators, true research investigators, need to really go back and relearn and think about earth science and apply the stuff we know from school and from our science and textbooks, and realize that there's a lot more to this than what we think. And we really need to open our mind to it. To think it's only about a cold spot would be arrogance. We don't know. And that's the one thing I say about this too.
Interdimensional things, right?
Yeah, I'm going to be good about how I say this. We don't know anything about the paranormal.
Yeah. I mean, we won't know until we're not here.
Yeah, and that's true. And maybe there's time that we'll eventually, that's why we're doing this. We're trying to get understanding, how to communicate, how to establish, how to look for, how to be prepared, and that's why we do this. That's why true investigators are out there and trying to determine. Now, will it ever be a real science? I don't think so. It's going to retain as a nanoscience unless the scientific community gets really involved, and they're not going to talk about it, CERN, about any of the situations. And as fact is, how the government really wants to try to get into it. Taking Ultra. There's other different situations. I don't think the government would ever attempt to even apply their thoughts into the paranormal non-talk. So, there's several.
I love it.
It's just, and you would never think, what reason would the government have any wanting to be in the paranormal Stargate that has any issues? So, yeah.
100%. I love it. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. There's so many different topics that we could talk about. Did you want to talk about, did I hear a rumor you've got a book or something coming out?
No, not this boy. Look, you know how many people
Does that sound familiar?
I don't know. A lot of people have asked me to write a book. I've had, and this is not one of those things. It's because you went there. I don't like to ring my bell. I've had a lot of offers from social media, a lot of offers from television. I don't. That's not what I want. That's not why.
Not your cup of tea. But
It's
you got a magazine going on though, right?
nope.
Or didn't you write with Night Moves?
Oh, music. That's music. Yes. Okay. All right. Yes. I used to be the junior editor for Night Moves magazine, which was a music magazine here in Richmond that was a part of the top culture, subculture, and indie culture of what's coming along, what's going down, what's happening. Yeah, I love that. That was one of my, as a preteen to say you are there and your sister was the editor and you're able to be a part of something like that. That was magnificent. That encouraged me. And for the love of God of me, I have no idea why I didn't stick into music. I'm not.
What's your favorite style of music, eh?
I don't have his favorite style. I love everything.
Yeah, you're like me. I kind of like it all, right?
Yes, man. There is nothing I have not or do not listen to. From everything from blues to classical, from rock to rap, to techno, to
we've been putting out a few things with the ParanormalNL podcast. We got 2 more new ones coming out, a rap one and another metal 80s one coming out next weekend. They drop.
Metal 80s. Now, what defines metal 80s?
To me, when I think about metal 80s, I think about hair flying everywhere and guitars and
hair band, hair rock. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, glam boys. I got you. All right, yeah. Which is what I used to be really deep into. I agree. Yeah. I was one of those too. Rat, Motley Crue, Poison, Kingdom Come, Warrant. I can keep going. Queensryche. But my favorite,
I like the good old classic rock too, though, with the Zeppelin and all that.
Yeah, I mean, definitely Zeppelin and the Doors, Creedence. But my all-time
Stevie Ray.
Oh yeah.
Stevie
Ray Vaughan. But Stevie Ray was early 80s. That's right there with Eddie Money and Billy Squier, and a lot of people want to put him back in the 70s, and I'm like, no, he wasn't.
No,
he's misgendered. But it's true. He played that style of music, which is a bluesy rock. Agreed. Absolutely agree.
Do you ever talk about the Mandela effect on your shows? That's
kind of ironic. I am actually working on a show right now on the Mandela effect. It's
an amazing topic, isn't it? I talked about it with Rob Shelsky, an author, not too long ago. He's got a whole book on it, but it's just mind blowing. He was asking me some of the things like, how do you remember this? And I would say something, and he said, no, it's actually this. And it's mind blowing, some of this stuff.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder if there's something to it. And as stated during one of my coughs earlier, one of those coughing episodes definitely may have something to play into. Pardon me, play into it as is. The responsibility. Yeah. Then again, we do know that we have 2 solar systems colliding at this moment. That's a possibility. We have time shifts taking place. Yes.
So you do believe in the extra planet?
There's a multiplicity of possibilities of endless and endless of possibilities.
True. Because we haven't been out there. We don't know. We haven't seen it, right?
Well, I mean, some people don't even believe space. They can believe that space exists at this point. Well, there's other people.
Yeah, there's still some flat earthers out there somewhere.
Well, when you have a major space corporation showing a video and a mouse flies out and starts running across one of its wings, it's hard to believe that they're existing at that point in time. Reality can be a biscuit eater. I'm doing so good. Not one word. Michelle, note that I haven't said one word on your network.
You're doing really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, we can make up.
I'm a sailor when it comes to verbal. Trust.
Yeah, we can make up some more funny words like that, right?
Right. There you go. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm not a believer of the flat Earth. I'm not a believer in any of that. Is there a possibility there's an inner Earth? I'm not going to say inner Earth, but is there a possibility there's an underground? I mean, there's too much now.
Like the Isaac Asimov type of theory. Yeah.
But there's too much evidence now that proves such that it is a fact. Okay. Could it be where some of these cryptids come from? possibility. Could some of these cryptics we're seeing be a part of the transition of timelines? Yes, the shifting of energy back and forth. It is very possible. I'm a
Yeah,
huge
I'm a
fan of
fan of the timelines too, for sure. Yeah, the
yes,
dimensions.
yeah. I'm a huge fan of Stranger Things with that
Yes,
thought
yeah.
process, the upside
Oh,
down.
the upside down.
I
Yeah.
completely believe it. And like I said, one of those cough sessions I had earlier may have something to do with all of it. And if they're
True,
not
true.
careful, they could send us into an absolute nowhere.
Yeah, that would not be good, would it?
Yes.
You never know. You never know.
Yes, ma'am. That is
You'll be
correct.
traveling in the Rift network, and you'll be ended up somewhere like on Stargate or something.
That's why I tell everybody, grab your surfboards. It's
Yeah.
about to get heavy, y'all. Let's
Well, I
surf
mean,
these.
what's going on with up there when you look out? You got all these beautiful aurora borealis everybody's looking at, but hey, that's telling you that there's something wrong with the Earth's magnetic field. So that's not cool,
No,
right?
it's not. You're exactly right.
Are we
And
losing atmosphere and all this weirdness is starting to come in now? Is that why more people are into the
um,
paranormal and more into it and more attuned to it?
I don't know just yet. Um, Social media is giving it access. It's pumped the idea. Um, Conspiracy theories are pumping the idea. Television is pumping the idea to get people more involved. I just watched a podcast with one of my closest friends last night talk about the black culture getting more involved. Well, yeah, absolutely. I think they should. I think everybody should get involved. Um, I think if the people that need to pay attention are going to be the people that pay attention to the paranormal and the supernatural people, because those are going to be your friends in the future because they're going to know what's going down, or they're going to have a much better idea than just the regular schmo that's on the street going, "What's going on?"
Isn't that always how it happens though on the movies? You know, they're like, oh, maybe the crazy guy on the side of the road with the sign, oh, it's the end of the world. Oh,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
knew, right?
Have you ever seen Animal House, the movie?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, you
Can't
remember when they
what
took
it
the
was.
bar out
Right?
and Pluto said what he was in? They took the bar, the whole bar, and he turns around and goes, "What do you think we're supposed to do, you moron?" That was actually the writer and the director of the movie. That was his part. But that's what makes me think. I'm sitting there, what do you think we're going to do now, you moron? Yeah, we're going to do something. Something has to be done, and the government's going to deal with things the way that they're going to deal with it. We have no control over it.
Yeah. Hang on for a wild ride. You got your surfboard. You're ready.
That's right. That's right.
You're already surfing it, man.
You got it.
You're already hanging 10. So you've got a big night ahead of you here.
I do. It's a long night.
Yeah, tell us more about what's happening now after you get off here.
Yeah, once I leave out of here, I'm hooking up with the hostess of the Orion Effect and Carrie Lynn Shellhorn, and we're talking some alienology.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be about an hour plus show. That'll be exciting. It's always fun to hang out with Carrie Lynn and her energy. And then, of course, at 9 p.m. tonight, we have the Freaking Awesome playlist where we're talking about what's tonight's list? Oh, I remember early 80s cruising music.
Oh, love it.
Yeah, catch it on YouTube or whatever your platform may be, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Kicks. Come on over, hang out with us. Now, Freaking Awesome Paranormal is only playlist is only on YouTube because of Facebook issues. There we go. So you can only catch the Freaking Awesome playlist on YouTube. At the moment.
Nice. Yeah, you've got a lot of stuff on your show, I must say. A lot of stuff to choose from. It's you go there and you're like, ooh. And my husband is like, you got to stop listening to so many podcasts. He's over there watching TV, and I've got my earbuds in, like one earbud in it. What are you listening to now? Oh, never mind.
Yes. There's a lot of great podcasts, a lot of great shows, and My show is a variety show, so anything and everything has happened on it. Same thing with the Freaking Awesome Paranormal Show.
Yeah, everybody, you got to follow Rift Nation Network
Check us
with
out.
Ed Odell. Yeah, you got to check him out. You got to find him and look him up. You won't have to look far because he's got a lot of shows.
I'm pretty easy to find. That's what I tell anybody.
That's
You got
right.
a problem with me, you don't have a problem with me, you just want to meet me, I'm pretty easy to find. You just walk up to me.
And I gotta give another shout out to UPRN, United Public Radio Network. I'm 107.7 FM, and in New Orleans, I'm 105.3 FM in the Gulf. And I gotta give a shout out to Michelle, our lovely lady over there at UPRN.
Michelle and Amelia.
Michelle, my belle. Isn't that a song somewhere? I think.
We love our group.
But yeah, we're getting down to the nitty gritty nuts here soon. But what else? I was looking through my stuff here to ask you more stuff about some of your things here. Paranormal Outlaws, we talked about that. What's going down? The G3, the ghost gadgets, and the gossip. Mm-hmm. And you're also a student of, is it Toa?
Tao.
Tao. There you go.
It's a Middle Eastern thought. It's by the oldest book written by man. It's basically about balance, understanding, and giving right to life. Trying to help others understand the situations. Explaining humanity and explaining, the pros and cons, because there's always something that we don't recognize about ourselves. Notice how I said that, about ourselves, not just about other people. It's acknowledging your own faults. It's acknowledging your own power too. It's also about finding the balance between good and bad. That's another comment that I use a lot, is good people who do bad things and bad people do good things. That's a Taoism phrase. And if you think about it, it's an honest to God, right to your face point. It's true. There are bad people who have done good things. And unfortunately, there's been some good people who've done bad things, and bad people have done some good things. So it goes hand in hand.
So it's a good thing to know. Now, what about this other one, Bushido? Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Bushido goes along with the Taoism. Bushido is the study, basically, of samurai. It's the code of samurai. 7 codes of virtue, benevolence, and we all don't, unless we practice it, we fail at it sometimes. And we've got to do better at that for those who wish to be a part of that. And that's going to help everybody grow. That's helping me grow. I've done a lot of shadow work, and I have hypertension. I got a lot of issues, and I've used this to help keep those in check.
Yeah, mindfulness and all that good stuff really does help with health, even though people say no. But yeah, no, it really does, coming from a nurse's standpoint. Yes, there needs to be more mindfulness.
Yes, more mindful of self and of others.
That's right. Yeah, especially of others in this day of age.
Because we fail to do that. That's one of our fails, to read people. Mm-hmm. If we read people better, we know what to keep ourselves out of, but it doesn't always happen.
No. That's why I try to keep the whole religion and politics things out of it. But hey, we're coming up on Easter, so we had to say a little bit about it.
That's right. It's got to be said. It must be said. All things be true.
You got to tell me, Ed, what's your paranormal bucket list?
Honestly, I don't have one.
No
and
bucket list?
Yeah. It goes back to the whole thing of what you just asked me. Taoism and Bushido. I don't want anything. I want to help. And if I'm taken to a place, then I'm thankful for it. If I'm not, then I'm not meant to be there. And a lot more people have to come to the understanding of that. How is that to be? And when they find out how these things work, then we live a better, wholesome life, and not with a life filled of what you want, but what you deserve.
Exactly. That's a good way to put it.
Yes, ma'am.
And now for the paranormal tourism. What would you tell folks if they were going to go visit where you're at, where they should go visit?
Oh, wow.
Where's the hot spots?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, it is Virginia, and it's one of the most haunted states of America.
Mm-hmm.
Williamsburg, anywhere in Norfolk, just because of the piracy alone and the naval things that took place there. Uh, Exchange Hotel in Orange, Virginia. Uh, the Graffiti House, if it was opened. The Boxwood Inn, the Foxwood Inn. A lot of people would say St. Albans because it does have a lot there. But I'm going to hit up on my sponsor with that. You've got to check out the Ghosts of Stanton, Virginia. Tours all day long in the Queen City. You don't want to miss it. Every weekend, it is probably per capita the most haunted city in America, in my opinion. From just its rich history, both politically, medically, and militarized, revolutionary, and Civil War. It's really impact filled with everything you could want. Um, Depends on which part of the kind of the state you go to, too. There's the Appalachia. Got to be careful. The folklore gets you in the Appalachia.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff up there, isn't it?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. A lot of stuff that can make things difficult. Yes.
Yeah, Newfoundland was actually part of the Appalachian Mountains at one point. I know some people talk about different entities and things that they see in the mountains and things here.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So if folks want to join the Riff Nation Network, what do you say to them?
Yeah, come on over. You can find us over on YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, of course. That's our primary. Come check us out there. Send us an email. We have show openings. If you're interested in doing your own show and you think you got what it takes, come on over. Let's talk. We've got everything from paranormal, supernatural, spiritual, comedy, enlightenment, and mentoring. We give pretty much everything. The paranormal stew, if you will. We are paranormal spaghetti. Come on over and get you a bite.
There you go, paranormal spaghetti. That's a good way to put it there. Everybody follow Ed Odell and listen to the Riff Nation Network and also listen to UPRN, United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM and 105.3 FM. And go ahead and give a shout out to your fans, Ed, Mr. Hitman.
To all of our travelers and all of you out there, thank you so much. May virtue be yours. Continue to help each other and help someone else that might be in need. They may be the one thing that you need in your life. Don't forget them.
Peace out, everybody. Have a happy Easter. Thanks so much for listening in. And we're going to leave you with some BOG music.
Spirit voices entwine with the cries of the night. The team's courage unyielding, their mission in sight. In the realm of the